Hello everyone, Golden Nova here, and I woke up to a bit of a treat today. A little while ago, the developers announced that there was going to be a dual terminal product coming up, and my expectations were very low. Chapter 1 released a little while ago, and it wasn't the best. So until I saw more details, I was skeptical on if I was going to actually be excited about this, and now I am, because we are confirmed to have new cards, which means new lore. But that's very interesting, because the dual terminal is, kind of finished, so there's only one of three possibilities here. One, it expands on lore we already know about, which, I'm not going to be upset about clarifications. Two, we're going to continue the story, which was, pretty final after Tiara was defeated. Or three, we finally figure out what's going on with Zefra Metaltron. It is my eternal mission. Hopefully, it will come to an end here. First up, we have some ice barrier cards. First up is Lancia, Draconic Ancestor of the Ice Spirit Mountain. What in the good griefles? Okay, so it says it's an ancestor, so it precedes the ice barrier dragons beforehand, and it kind of looks like an amalgamation of all three of them, right? Like, it has the long serpentine body of Brionac, its chest plate looks like Trishula's, and the big, like, giant claw gauntlets, and I think a little bit of the head looks like Gungnir, so this might be like a, well, I mean, it's in the name, it is an ancestor, so it's some kind of predecessor. To what end, I'm not sure. Level 10, 3,300 attack, 2,700 defense, water tuner, and one or more non-tuner monsters as material, so it has the same stat lines as Sub-Zero Trishula. That's interesting. Once per chain, if your opponent special summons any number of monsters, you can special summon an ice barrier monster from your hand, deck, extra deck, or graveyard, then change one opponent's attack position monster to defense position. If this face-up Synchro Summon card in its owner's control leaves the field by your opponent, you can special summon an Ice Barrier Synchro monster from your extra deck, and this is treated as a Synchro Summon. Okay, so that's basically adding to the chain of the Sub-Zero Trishulas. You can make this. If this goes away, you make Sub-Zero. If that goes away, you make base Trishula. Or, you just make base Trishula, and then you banish a whole bunch of your opponent's cards. Or the other ones if you want to, get fancy with it. Lancia is a very funny name because I believe all of the other ice barriers are named after legendary spears, so that was a good pick. Next up is Georgius, Swordsman of the Ice Barrier. That's a Mist Valley monster. Hold up. So we had an X-Saber presumably become, or an Ice Barrier monster presumably become an X-Saber in the form of Wayne. I guess it could always have been the other way around and I was misinterpreting it. And now we have a Mist Valley monster becoming an Ice Barrier. Because I don't think it's going to be an Ice Barrier monster becoming a Mist Valley at some point, because the Mist Valley people have a very specific anatomy. Interesting. So Georgius, his name is Georgius, the Great Swordsman. George! Okay, level 6, and they got a bit of a level increase. Level 6, Water, Winged Beast, Tuner Effect Monster, 2,000 attack, 1,200 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position, much like Wayne. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon a level 5 or lower Ice Barrier monster from your hand or graveyard, like Wayne. Monsters in your opponent's graveyard cannot activate their effects while you control another ice. Oh my god, a good Ice Barrier lockdown effect. Holy cow, stop the presses, folks. That's incredible. Any and all grave effects, just shut them off. We don't care. That's... And it's a level 6 tuner. Okay. Mirror Magic Master of the Ice Barrier. Do we know who you are? I think this is... Yeah, this is Geomancer, but we can see their face right now, right? I think that's the case. Level 2 Aqua Tuner Monster, 1,000 attack, 400 defense. You can use the first and second effect of this card once per turn each. You contribute one other effect monster to special summon up to 3 Ice Barrier tokens, which are level 1 Water Aqua monsters with 0 attack and defense. And if you do, increase this card's level by the number summoned. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Water Synchro monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one of your Ice Barrier cards that is banished or is in your deck to your hand. Okay, so it's a searcher. If it's sent to the grave from anywhere or recurs your banished Ice Barrier cards. That's very funky. Okay, so you have a level 2 tuner. You summon 3 Ice Barrier tokens. If you summon all 3, you bump its level up by 3. So it's a level 5 monster, and you have 3 level 1 tokens. That makes 8. It doesn't make Trishula by itself, which seems... It can make the other Ice Barrier dragons just fine. So unless I'm missing something, you need to add a little extra spice on here, but that's not too terrible. Though we'll have to see what other water synchro monsters you can go into. This should give you access to the white aura monsters, and that's not terrible. Alright. Frozen Domains leading to the Ice Barrier. Continuous trap card. It looks like we have the Prior, the ancient spirit of the Ice Barrier here, making their trek. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your Ice Barrier monster effects. Not bad. If a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can return an Ice Barrier monster that you control to the hand or deck. I guess that is to cover for synchro monsters. Then you can place one card on the field or in the graveyard on the bottom of the deck. Oh, okay, so in response, you just like, okay, I'm going to recycle this card, and I'm going to tuck your monster away. Once returned during your end phase, reveal 3 Ice Barrier monsters with different names in your extra deck, or destroy this card. Okay. So now we have a 4th one, so we don't necessarily have to run Gungnir. But maybe you do just as a free name. That's... Huh. I kind of like this card. Also, I do like that Frozen Domains doesn't have to work on the monster special summon from the extra deck. So if your opponent does it, you can do this reactively, and if you do it, you can hit your opponent with it. That's pretty funky. These are some pretty good cards for Ice Barrier, not gonna lie. Lancia is strong. Georgius is a pretty good way to get monsters onto the board. Well, 6, you have 3 tuners, 3, that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can make it with 4 monsters, but yeah, 1 Georgius plus 3 of these tokens from Mirror Magic Master, and that gets you Trishula. That's very funny. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if there are, if this is it, or if they're adding any more support for these in the future. Especially, please give us X-Saber support. Please give us X-Saber support. I want some X-Saber monsters. No. Anyway, we're not done yet, though. They also announced Infernoid cards, because... boy howdy, that's a really funny addition, because the Infernoids don't really have any characters to build on, so maybe we'll get some lore backstory here. I don't know what this means. Okay, level 1 Fire Fiend Fusion Monster, Infernoid Evil! Evil! It takes any 2 Infernoid monsters to make 1100 attack and defense. If this card is fusion summoned, you can banish an Infernoid monster from your grave. Send Infernoid monsters with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard equal to the banished monster's That's powerful. Because it doesn't check their levels. So it's not like, oh, I sent a level 10, I can send like a level 4 and a level 6. No, it's a number based on the level of the monster that was banished. So if you fuse for this and you fuse like a level 10 or something, you can just effectively get another Infernoid Imagination, the continuous spell card that does the deck fusing. You can get like a bigger version of that. That is grody. Holy cow. And Infernoid Flood. Hello, Tierra. Excuse me? Pardon me. There's a little Decatron on the tail. But this is like, I'm not wrong. This looks like Tierra. What's happening here? Link 4, Fire Fiend effect monster, 3000 attack with a top, bottom, left, bottom, bottom, right arrow. Requiring 2 or more monsters, including an Infernoid monster. So it's pretty easy to make if you're Link climbing. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card once per turn each. 1. If your opponent would special summon a monster as a quick effect, you contribute a monster to negate the summon, and if you do, banish those monsters. If a card is banished from your graveyard, banish a card on the field, okay. If this Link summoned card in its owner's control is destroyed by your opponent, you can special summon an Infernoid monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. Okay, so you get to have, Anunku or Deviati. Presumably other things, but those are the big bosses that you get to float into. So you're banishing cards from your own graveyard all the time to summon your Infernoids. The fact that it has another, like, giant Infernoid effect is pretty good. And that being summon negation is outrageous. And then it floats into something. It's also extremely outrageous because it is a link monster, which means it is not going to count towards the level count of your Infernoids. For those of you who don't know, Infernoids have a really cool inherent summoning effect depending on what level they have, but it's all dependent on the levels of monsters you have on the field. If you control 8 levels and or ranks of monsters, you can no longer inherent summon them. They will not allow it. Link ratings were not created at that time, and so it was not proofed for that. So this is a great way to lower your level count to make room for more Noids. Incinerating Purgatory or Void Blaze Up. Normal spell card. Reveal an Infernoid monster or Void spell or trap card in your hand. Discard your entire hand, then draw the same number of cards you discarded. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are fiend monsters and this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, then target up to 11 of your banished Infernoid monsters with different names and return them to the graveyard. Okay, not too shabby. You can only use the second effect of this card once per duel, though, so you can't keep doing that. That's unfortunate. But 11 different Infernoid names means that you're getting quite a bit of fuel for your banishing effects. That leads into a lot of their inherent summoning. You're banishing a lot of Infernoids to make that happen. Okay. Wild. Final Barrier of Purgatory or Void Barrier. Continuous spell card. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. Infernoid monsters you control gain 100 attack for each of your banished Infernoid monsters. Very big. 2. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are fiend monsters, you can activate one of these effects. Either add one of your banished Infernoid monsters from your hand, or special summon an Infernoid monster from your hand, ignoring summoning conditions. Holy cow, they made a fixed version of what, the Void card, the Void continuous trap card that was actually really good, but would punish you if you played a not Infernoid. This is just a better version. Okay, granted, you're not activating it during both players' turn like a continuous trap would, but still, free cards and a little bit of a boost is nothing to sneeze at. This is coming out of a lot of water, so I guess that's where the Flood name comes from, where we get our Infernoid tier. I'm losing my whole mind here. Also, what is... I must be missing something. I must be missing some kind of reference here, because I have no clue if this is supposed to be shaped like something. This is supposed to be a reference to something. It just looks like a whole new Infernoid. And it's not like the head of this creature, like Decatron kind of was for Deviati. Oh, but it's got multiple little tail heads. That's pretty cute and or terrifying, depending on what your stance is. Wow, I have no clue. The Flood imagery seems very specific, though. And if I were to make a guess, depending on the juxtaposition of Ice Barrier and Infernoids, these are like a far future Infernoids after like the Ice Barriers have like melted due to like planetary shifts or something. I have been a big proponent for the fact that World Legacy and Dual Terminal take place in the same world, but like World Legacy is far in the future, so maybe this is like a World Legacy era card, but that would of course imply that there was a giant water thing that the Ice Barrier melted into, and there's a whole thing literally in the World Legacy war where the planet is like being caked in layers of earth to seal away all the evil stuff, and that doesn't seem to be coming through here, so I can't definitively say if that's the case here, but boy howdy is this interesting. Looking forward to seeing how this develops, or if they're going to add any kind of specific lore documentation afterwards to explain what's going on here, because honestly, I am so lost. There's something that Infernoid Evil is like feasting on in this art. It looks like other Infernoid bodies, like it's sucking up their blue flames. You can see like a vent on their back that's kind of like exuding the flame as well. But yeah, totally at a loss. Well, until we get more information, I leave it all up to you, loreheads in the audience. What do you think of the cards mechanically, and what do you think of the lore implications of these? I don't think the ice barrier, aside from the introduction of the great Georgius, really changes anything. But the Infernoids have the ability, or possibility rather, to shake things up a whole bunch, and I want to hear what your theories are down below. These are 90, 100... That's pretty far down. What number are these ones? These are 2. Oh, wow. We could be seeing a lot of lore stuff coming out of this. Holy cow. Okay, anyway, I'm cutting it off here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.
Today's episode was brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. When you want to protect your cards with the power of dragon scales, get some sweet lore for them, and support the channel, check out my link in the description to get started.
Today's episode is also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including the illustrious Quasar Commander Green Knight, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Andrew Newman, Avi Chali, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Danny Bound, Dark Dragon X830, Eric, Aaron the World Breaker, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Genesis Yugioh, Great Big Pillock, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Howling Zangetsu, Hydracraft 135, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Picata, Marluxia Zagirl, Mega Combi, Molly Renata, Nathan Vig, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sammy Haim, Sir Knight JCB, Skybuster Leo, Sophie, apparently, The Wizard Moose and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders Almento 5010, A Random Pup, Ariel Kersey, Beluga Masta, Blue Gem, Chaz Ghost, Corbinisms, Drakkenwald, Drake and SpongeBob be like, you used to call me on your shell phone, Dripfed Tar, Eki Bullock, Eva Padilla,
Hike Boyagian,
Herbal D, Inblink, Jester Designs, Kale the Dragon, Carp, Kevon Public, King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lemon Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lord Whoop-De-Doo, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, Michael Shimabukuro, Nitromo, Ruxith Sarani, Shizuka Nijimura, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, Tucker Ordorn, Venusian Teapot, and Zeldreka, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to be a part of these credits, get early access to videos, determine what videos I make, and many more benefits, it would mean the world to me if you check my Patreon page in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.